Well, hey friends, welcome back to our Acts Bible reading series. We're in Acts 27 today, so we're getting really close to the end of the book. And Acts 27 is a series of stories about sailing. Paul and his companions and a bunch of other people are making their way to Italy, making their way to Rome, so that Paul can stand trial before Caesar. And basically, Acts 27 is Luke just accounting all of the different places that they go, all the stops that they make. And they get to a point where they're coming up on the island of Crete. And Paul tries to tell everyone, hey guys, we need to stay here. We need to winter here. We need to just take a break and we'll get there when we get there. But nobody wants to slow down. They say, no, we're going to, as soon as there's a favorable moment, we're out of here. Well, that's exactly what they do, even though Paul had told them, hey, this is going to be disastrous for us. And exactly what Paul says happens. There's this huge storm that comes up, hurricane force winds, all of the things. And they're getting to the point where they're having to start throwing stuff overboard so that the ship will just stay intact and so they won't sink. But Paul, because he knows who's on his side, is a peaceful presence in the middle of this entire ordeal. And I want to show you what Paul says to these men as they're facing a really difficult storm. This is Acts 27. I'm going to pick up in verse 21. After they'd gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and said, "Men, you should have taken my advice not to sail from Crete. Then you would have spared yourselves this damage and loss. But now I urge you to keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost. Only the ship will be destroyed. Last night, an angel of the God to whom I belong and whom I serve stood beside me and said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar, and God has graciously given you the lives of all who sail with you. So keep your courage, men, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me.'" Now, Paul's peace comes from knowing what God has called him to do and knowing that God proves to be faithful in the middle of any storm that we face. So Paul can go to all of the rest of the men on the ship and say, guys, keep your courage. Keep moving forward. Even though we will face difficulty, we will get to where we are going because God's called us there. God gave Paul a mission. He gave him a purpose, and Paul is living that out. And because of that, God stood with him. And that helps Paul to be a peaceful presence in the middle of the storm. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Grace and peace, my friends.